Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janababa Giridharidhari. Gopi Janababa Giridharidhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jairadha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Giridharidhari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Giridharidhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnabham Sapadaraj Kachaya Sto Jayasata Shri Srimati A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnabham Sapadaraj Kachaya Asto Jayasata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Gaur Premanandi. Om Ganatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Viditang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yesterday, last night, we were speaking about the various options you have for leading and living a godless life. Now, we spoke last night about how, for most of you, you accept that there is a supreme being, a supreme controller. The question, however, is how relevant is that for your life? We spoke last night, remember, about the different ways you can approach the supreme being. First of all, by fear. You're afraid of what would happen to you if you ignore the supreme being. And you're also afraid of the disasters of this world, including your personal disaster of death and old age and disease. So for all those fearful reasons, you seek out a connection to the Almighty. And then there's also asha, desires, greed. You're greedy for material happiness, for material prosperity. So you appeal to God, please give me these things. And then kartavya buddhi, that stage in which you understand that you have indebtedness towards the Supreme Being because you've been provided with so much, even your own life. What to speak of all the necessities of life. But beyond all that, there is raga, just spontaneous attraction for no other reason than the Supreme is infinitely attractive. You may know that in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhakti radhokshade ahoituki apratiyata yanatma suprasidati. That religious system is first class if it produces in its followers pure ecstatic love of God. No material motivations, no interruptions, just constant, pure love. So this is a very non-sectarian presentation in Srimad Bhagavatam. It doesn't say this religion or that religious system. It says whatever spiritual system produces pure love of the Supreme, that is acceptable. Indeed, that is first class. So you might say, okay, that opens the door to everything, right? But you have to know what is pure love. Once you understand the various levels of pure love, then, as Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur explains, you'll naturally agree that Krishna is the most ideal reciprocator and exchanger of pure love. In other words, for your pure love to actually be fully developed, you must know about Krishna and be attracted to Krishna. So this is confusing maybe to you. On the one hand, non-sectarian. On the other hand, sounds sectarian, only Krishna. But if you understand what pure love is, and all the different possibilities for exchanging pure love, then you would agree about Krishna being the ideal object of pure love. This is why in the beginning of Krishna book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada writes that anyone who actually knows what is God will accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You all know the definition of Bhagavan. That nomenclature, that terminology for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, meaning the possessor of unlimited opulence. Krishna is unlimitedly deep in all the 6 opulences. Therefore, he is described in the Sanskrit spiritual literature as Shadaishvarya Purna, unlimitedly full of the 6 prime opulences. All wealth, all strength, all knowledge, all beauty, all fame, all renunciation. Not just deep in one of those 6, but unlimitedly, infinitely deep in all 6. Understanding the criteria for what is the Supreme, then you can actually start to think about what is pure love, the love supreme. If you consider that the Supreme is your supplier, how can that be pure love? Just like you may appeal to God the Father, as is quite common in the Western world. Our Father, give us the daily bread. That is very, very elementary God realization in terms of the purity of love. When you consider that you are the child and that is the parent, you have expectations, right? How many of you have seen children run to the door when mother or father comes home from work? And they're running to the door saying, "Mommy, Mommy, what did you buy me?" Yes, everyone. "Father, Father, what did you bring for me?" So that's the natural tendency, that you engage the parent in your service if you're a child. And of course the parents agree, but still, the child sees the parent as basically the servant. You're supposed to do this for me, you're supposed to do that for me. Right? Gradually, as the child gets older and mature, the child should start feeling some gratitude, right? Some indebtedness. And therefore, the child agrees, as he or she grows up, to serve the parents because you feel obligation. You've done this for me. You've done that for me. You helped me go to school in Australia, and you've taken out loans and like that. But is that feeling of obligation, even that feeling of gratitude, is that pure love? That is the point Bhaktivedanta Thakur makes. There's a reason, there's a motivation. In Sanskrit, hetu, there's a cause. You did this, therefore I feel that for you. So the Acharyas say that's not pure love. Even though there's a feeling of gratitude and obligation, I should take care of my parents when they are old because they took care of me when I was a baby, or because society says that's a good thing to do. the reasons, motivations. Yes, and those, we're not criticizing those motivations, those reasons, but the Acharyas point out it's not pure love because you're thinking, you did this for me, therefore I'm going to do that for you. I hope you can understand that. The example of the closest thing in the material world to pure love, you know, is the mother's love for her child. The child is throwing up on the mother, and the child is passing stool and urine all day long, and the mother's constantly cleaning. I once asked one young mother, I said, how often do you change your baby's nappies? In general, what's the law amongst ladies? How often, amongst mothers, how often they change the nappies? And she told me, it depends on how you want your baby to smell. If you want your baby to smell the best all day long, then you're always changing nappies. But if you don't mind some fragrances, and you haven't finished chanting your 16 rounds, then you just let it be. So in this way, the mother, she's performing so much service almost unconditionally. The child is screaming and crying. Just like where I stay, I'm watching the mother in operation. The child runs here, the mother runs after the child. The child runs there, the mother runs after the child. All day long this goes on. And you know what's going to happen. When the child gets older, mother won't be so intensely important as she was when the child's a baby. Everyone knows that's coming. But still the mother, she's pouring her heart and soul into caring for the child. Almost pure, but mother has her expectations. She expects reciprocation. And she may expect in the future, my son will make a lot of money, he'll have a high position, and that will bring me fame, that will bring me security. My son will be a success, my family members and neighbors will congratulate me. I remember myself when I finished secondary school and I was going to university, and I got many scholarships so I could choose which school to go to. Oh, my parents were so proud. They even called the local newspaper up, and the newspaper reporter came and took my picture, made an article. He has been accepted at 3 Ivy League schools. And then when I graduated from university, I remember my father coming to me and saying something which he said was not easy for him to say, but he said it, son, I have to say that I couldn't have done in my life any better than what you're doing. 6 months later, I was in the Brahmacharya ashram. It was a bit of a crisis. In May of 1972, your son graduates from Yale University. And in February of 73, he's in the Brahmacharya. So my father, he was very disturbed. He didn't understand anything about Vedic knowledge or bhakti. Or in the USA at that time, there were very few people from India. The immigration policy was very strict. So everyone just thought India is a place where everyone is starving. So, my father, he was shocked. One minute he was riding high in the opinion of his family and neighbors and friends. When I was in university, he told me, please, you buy me one of those, those stickers you put on the window of your car? Get me a Yale sticker. So when I'm at work, I drive into the car park, everyone will, ooh. So he could profile, they'll ask, that sticker, someone in your family? Yes, my son. A few years later, when I graduate, and I move into the Brahmacharya. Of course, he was shocked. My mother, out of affection for her son, I was the oldest son, she said, at least he's choosing a moral life. This is just a phase that he's going through. Just don't bother him. Let him be. It's just a phase. He's recovering from university life. Well, the phase has lasted for 42 years. So I'm giving you this example so that you'll understand that even in the love of the parents, especially, even in the love of the mother, there is some kickback that they expect, Mothers want appreciation. Even now, my mother's 86, and she's, where are you? Who are you speaking to now? Why are you talking to strange people on the other side of the world? You should be home with your mother. She's 86, and still she's saying, I remember when you were 3 months old and I used to hold you. When does it end? And then I often explain, maybe you've heard it before, she tried a special Brahmastra, a special weapon. She had reserved. She pulled it out of the silo. Some years ago, when your grandmother left this world, she set aside a special fund for you for when you come home. Think about it. So she thought I would really be affected by that. A special fund set aside by grandmother. So I said, well, since grandmother loved me, why doesn't she just release the funds? Mother said, no, it's especially for when you come home and stay. So you see, there's a catch. So that shows you that even in the situation of love between mother and child, there's still something expected. The mother expects some reciprocation, some benefits. Even though it said a mother's job is never done, the mothers expect that they get some appreciation, reciprocation, and that's why it's actually common when mothers reach the age in their mid-40s, assuming their children are in their teens or 20s, what often happens? Midlife crisis. I gave my whole life for my husband and children. Now I'm 45, 46, old age is coming. What about me? I've got to do something for me. I know this doesn't happen in India yet. But 20 years or so, it'll happen. But it's quite common in the West. You know that? You've heard this, right? Midlife crisis? Yes. It's quite common amongst mothers in the West. I poured out my whole life into my children, into my husband. Now I'm 46, 47. What about me? I've got to do something for me. And sometimes they even leave their families, just do something totally radical because their relationship wasn't based on pure love. They're expecting something, and then in the midlife crisis, they realize, I didn't get anything for me. When we look at love of God, how can there be pure love if you're considering the Supreme to be your order supplier, the giver of this, the giver of that? Now, certainly, we're not condemning those who are grateful to God for supplying the necessities. But that's not pure love. In other words, the gratitude is based on the fact that you got something. Therefore, as a civilized person, you feel grateful, you feel indebted. But still, there's a transaction that's the basis of it all. You gave me this, therefore I'm feeling that. You gave me something, therefore I'm feeling indebted and grateful to you. When you consider God to be the master, there's a kind of distance in that relationship automatically. The Supreme is on high and you are down low. And so how can there be any kind of intimacy or deep personal relationship when there's this barrier of master and subordinate? Just like we're speaking last night, at work, there can't be just complete intimacy between the boss and everyone else. There has to be that barrier, that separation, that gap. So certainly it is very advantageous to recognize that we are dependent on the Supreme and acknowledge our dependency in terms of the provider and the provided, the master and the ones who are being mastered. But there's no full opportunity for pure loving exchange in that kind of situation. Especially if you have no idea what is God. You just accept that there's some vague power that on high. You ask people, what is God? They have no idea. So how can there be love? Sometimes people say that God is some kind of quality that's spread everywhere, like God is justice, or God is love, or God is truth. But they have no specific understanding of what is the Supreme. So therefore, how can there be love? What to speak of, how can there be pure love without any material reason? So the Bhakti-Acharyas are giving you the full spectrum. They're not condemning the preliminary stages of God realization. They're not condemning the elementary levels of appreciating God. But they're just letting you see that there's a whole spectrum between the elementary and the most advanced. And if your love is going to be pure, you have to have the most advanced understanding of what is the Supreme. How can you have pure love for the impersonal Brahman? How do you love the universal form? If you see the universe, the planetary systems as the form of the Supreme, how do you have unconditional love for that? What to speak of if you think in terms of materialism or pantheism, every living creature is a god, or polytheism, there are many gods, take your pick, or skepticism, who knows and who cares? How can there be any love? So this is why understanding Krishna is so important. What is special about Krishna? Krishna is so special that even beyond Vishnu, beyond Narayan, is the understanding, the reality of Krishna. And your pure love can most properly express itself only in relation to Krishna. Why is that? Is that a sectarian statement? Only Krishna. But what is special about Krishna? What is special about relationships with Krishna? If you want to relate to the power and majesty of the Supreme, then there's Vishnu, there's Narayan. Narayan in Vaikuntha is surrounded by infinite opulence. And the devotees of Lord Narayan are absorbed in awe and reverence. They know that Narayan is supreme. But is that the purest that love can be? There's a topmost portion of the spiritual world, Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, where no one loves Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan because he is God. They don't know and they don't care. The majesty and opulence of Krishna is definitely there in Goloka Vrindavan, but it's all covered by madhurya, by sweetness. So much so that even if the residents of Goloka Vrindavan may see Krishna's inconceivable power, because the sweetness predominates, they don't pay much attention to that inconceivable power. That's why in the forests of Goloka Vrindavan, when Krishna's cowherd boyfriends see him do something wonderful, they go home, and in the evening, when they return with the cows and calves, they go home and they tell their mothers, Krishna did this, he did that. And no one says, oh, he must be God. Oh, that's very amazing what Krishna did, what the little boy Krishna did. Krishna wants it that way, that in the topmost portion of the spiritual world, no one thinks he is God. In that way, Krishna can have the best enjoyment. How many of you want to be treated in an official capacity 24 hours a day? You don't want that. You want intimacy. You want personal connection. Krishna, as the supreme enjoyer, knows how to get the best love. The best love, the pure love, is devoid of awe and reverence. That's why the Shastra explains that much more than the official hymns of the Vedas, Krishna likes the chastisements of his dear consorts. He likes when his mother scolds him. He likes that much more than any official prayers of how great you are, your power, your majesty, your might. Just think. Of course, we are so starved for respect and appreciation. If someone praises us, we like it. But imagine if someone would praise you nonstop. You are so great. You are so amazing. Your potencies are so powerful. Your intelligence dazzles the world. Your beauty has unlimited splendor. And all they're doing night and day is just, folded with pranams, just saying all these very official prayers of awe and reverence. The first day, you'd love it. Right? But day after day after day, you are so great. How great you are. There's no limit to your opulences. What would you feel after a while? You would feel hungry for some more intimacy. You want a more spontaneous personal connection. That's why there are, amongst the richest persons in this world, they sometimes disguise themselves and go out into the city and just to talk with people in a spontaneous way without people thinking, oh, you're so-and-so, you've got so much money, and artificially trying to be your friend. They're tired of people's motivations. People who know that this is a multi-billionaire. They're tired of it. There's no satisfying intimacy in dealing with persons who are aware of your wealth and power. So, sometimes very wealthy persons in this world, they'll disguise themselves just to mix with people and be appreciated for what they are, without taking into account, without the people's taking into account their wealth and power. It's like I know in the case of the Olympics, at the Summer Olympics, for some sports like basketball, they allow professionals to compete. So the USA sends their top professional basketball players. And these athletes, they're making like $40 million a year. And so when they go to some foreign country for the Olympics, of course, all the public's attention is on them. These are the superstars. These are the greatest. But these athletes, they can't, okay, let's say the Olympics are in Paris or Moscow. They just can't walk out in the street and enjoy sightseeing. They have to disguise themselves. Sunglasses, hat, just because they can't be ordinary persons. Because they're media stars, everyone will recognize, oh, that's so-and-so. Just one basketball player makes more money per year than the entire Australian basketball team. So they can't have any peace. They're there at the Olympics with their families, but they just can't go out with their wife and children and enjoy the city because, oh, look, is that, oh. And next minute, hundreds of people are surrounding, autograph, please. And the reporters are following them everywhere. So they get tired of it. Their only hope is to buy a private island in the Caribbean or something. They can't get any peace. So that shows you that even ordinary human beings will get tired of being worshipped officially all the time. The human nature is you want intimacy. Now, what about Krishna? He is the cause of all causes, the source of everything. But he knows that the best enjoyment is not simply receiving official prayers all the time. The best enjoyment is when Krishna's devotees act equal to him or subordinate to him. Just like Krishna's cowherd boyfriends, the gopas. They climb on his shoulders and say, "You're no big person at all. We're just as good as you." And Mother Yashoda, she chastises Krishna. "Come here, I have a rope in my hand, I'm going to tie you up, you've been naughty." And Krishna bows his head and cries, "Oh, I've been an offender, I'm sorry." That is real pleasure. Now, one thing you have to understand is that in the topmost portion of the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, no one loves Krishna because he is God. That is not pure. They love Krishna simply because Krishna is unlimitedly lovable. That's all. They don't calculate. He's God, therefore we love him. In Vaikuntha, you can do that, but not in Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna arranges it that you are covered by his Yogamaya energy. You don't think he's God, you don't see it. You just are unlimitedly attracted to the unlimitedly attractive person. There's no cause. It just happens spontaneously, unlimitedly. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, if you can understand this, then you'll see why Krishna is special for the exchange of pure love. There's no reason, no cause to love Krishna in the topmost portion of the spiritual world. It's simply that Krishna attracts everyone and everything. You don't love Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan because he's God. There's no calculation whatsoever. So therefore, this is the only way that the full potential of pure love of God can be experienced. So in this way, you can understand that presenting Krishna as the only object of pure love is not sectarian. You have to understand what pure love is. If you actually know what pure love is, then you'll accept Krishna. There's no reason materially for Krishna's dearest devotees to love him. There's not even a spiritual reason. Even when they see Krishna do something extraordinary, they still think, he's Mother Yashoda's boy. And the cowherd boys think, he's our friend Krishna. Sometimes they speculate. Did you see what Krishna just did? What kind of person is our friend Krishna? They start thinking, maybe he's a demigod. Yes, maybe he's a demigod. But you know what that means? If he's a demigod, that means we're demigods too, because we're just as good as him. Or sometimes the older cowherd men in Vrindavan, they start speculating. Could it be that Krishna is empowered by Narayan? Sometimes they try to understand. But at the end, they always conclude, anyway, he's just the son of Nanda Maharaj. Sometimes the cowherd ladies in Vrindavan, they'll start to speculate that maybe because Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda performed pious activities, and therefore Narayan blessed their son to have powers like Narayan. Maybe it's like that. They talk like that for a while and then just go right back to the same old conclusion. He's just our Vrindavan boy, that Krishna. We all love him. So this is the highest level of pure love. So our point is that, yes, as the first canto of Bhagavatam says, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma Yato Bhaktir, that spiritual system is first class that produces pure love. Any spiritual system that produces pure love is first class. But then again, how can there be pure love if there's motivation? Even the motivation that I'm worshiping you because you are God. But in the relationships between Krishna and his devotees, there's no cause. Simply, Krishna and his devotees exist in a pure, perfect, loving exchange eternally. That is the topmost enjoyment. Still, Krishna's devotees in Goloka Vrindavan never think of their own happiness. They're only thinking 100% of Krishna's pleasure. What is the wealth in Vrindavan? Just fruits, flowers, and twigs. Is that where you want to go? A place where the only wealth is fruits, flowers, and twigs? What about the opulence, the unlimited, infinite opulence, palatial opulence of Vaikuntha? But here you are singing, Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Ballabha, Giri Varadari. You're singing about Goloka Vrindavan, but the only wealth there is fruits and flowers and twigs. Krishna, what does he eat in Goloka Vrindavan? This yogurt, milk, butter. Who are his friends? The cowherd boys. Who are his consorts? The cowherd girls. Everything in nature in Goloka Vrindavan is all about supplying Krishna with the most perfect arrangements for loving affairs. Everything is just about pure love. No grandeur, no majesticness, no awe and reverence. So again, you can see even in the most powerful persons in the mundane world, they don't want to be worshipped all the time. They want to have a nice, warm, loving relationship. Your boss at work doesn't want to be a boss 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your boss at work wants to leave work and go home and be greeted by a nice consort who gives him sweet words and pinches him on his cheek. And everyone, because we're all part of Krishna, have this need for intimacy. And Krishna, as the supreme enjoyer, knows how to get the best intimacy. The best intimacy comes from pure love. For there to be pure love means there has to be an opportunity to love God without any material motivation, without even loving God because he's God. So this is why Krishna is special, even beyond Narayan and Vishnu. This is why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mata prataram nanya kinchit asti dhananjaya. There's nothing beyond me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Nothing means not even the impersonal Brahman, no demigods, not even Vishnu, not even Narayan. The ultimate pinnacle of existence is this realm of unmotivated, unconditional love. And Krishna agrees to come under the control of that love. Rather than be the ultimate controller, Krishna wants to be controlled by his devotees' pure love. All right, any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Gurudev, for being here. It's wonderful to have you in our presence. I just was thinking some, perhaps like agnostics may say, oh, this sounds very nice, all this, but it's sentimental. How do we know that God is a person and like this, what we're describing, it could all just be a projection of our human experience onto a conception of God?
Well, you can tell them that they are just a projection. They are trying to imitate Krishna in their family affairs, in their social affairs. They're trying to imitate Krishna. They're trying to be the supreme enjoyer, which is impossible. That's why they're failing. But they're trying hard. They're working hard. To understand Krishna, you can't do it with your material senses, and you can't understand Krishna with your material intelligence. So how then do you understand Krishna? Some people say, it's just impossible to know what the Supreme is, so don't even bother. Even if there is the Supreme, you can never know what is the nature of the Supreme. So just get on with your life and forget all about it. It's true. You cannot understand Krishna through your material sense perception, and you cannot understand Krishna through material logic and reason or analysis. Does that mean, though, the case is closed? No. You can understand Krishna by hearing from Krishna. By hearing from Krishna, you'll get the insight, you'll get the experience. Just as Krishna told Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Maya sakta manaparta yogam yunjan marasraya asamsayam samagam mam yatha gyasasi touchtrinu. Just listen, I'm going to teach you how your mind can be attached to me in full consciousness. You'll know everything about me without a doubt. Just listen. Just like you've been a married man for how long?
Couple of years.
Couple of years. So what have you learned?
A little bit of compromise.
More than that, you have learned that if you want to understand your wife, you have to listen to what she says. Otherwise, you'll never figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Right? You learned that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
So there's just an example of ordinary life. Similarly, if you want to understand Krishna, you hear from Krishna. Now, atheistic scientists will say that this presentation of Krishna is it's very extraordinary. So they'll reply that extraordinary claims, such as presenting that there is God, or especially that there's Krishna with his activities and associates, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Krishna presents the evidence in Bhagavad Gita. He gives you the process to verify what he's saying, but you have to take up the process. You can also turn that statement around. Atheistic scientists will say, this claim that there is God is extraordinary. Such a claim requires extraordinary evidence. So then you turn it around and say, the claim that everything comes from matter by chance is extraordinary, so give us the extraordinary evidence of that. There's none. Let us see consciousness arising from inanimate matter. You say that's what happened, that's an extraordinary claim. Let's see the extraordinary evidence. So then you have one extraordinary claim, they say, that you're saying there's Krishna, that's an extraordinary claim. And we say, well, you're saying that matter produces life and consciousness, that's an extraordinary claim. So at least we should be equal. There are two extraordinary claims. Now let's see who gives the process to verify the extraordinary claim. What is the process for verifying that consciousness and life come from matter? Give us a process. There's none. Okay, someone will say, what is the process for verifying that there is Krishna? We can give the process. Now, you may not want it, but we can give it to you. So that is the difference. There is no process for verifying materialistic claims. But there is a process for verifying what Krishna says. Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. As neophytes, don't we actually have to start, we actually have to know the glories of the Lord and how great He is. Is it actually possible to come up to that level of loving Krishna just because, just simply loving Krishna without actually even thinking that He is God, or is it, can we actually aspire for that level? Or?
That is the goal that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. One should not remain a neophyte eternally. Just like even in an ordinary relationship, you first make the person's acquaintance and you inquire and you try to get to know one another. But the goal is that there'll be a developed relationship of reciprocation and love. But it has to start somewhere. But you want that there's progress. Similarly, in bhakti, we have to start somewhere. Just like we spoke yesterday about the Christian idea stated in the Bible, that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. I explained how in Sunday school as a little boy, that was one of the verses I learned. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. That's true, but it's not the end of wisdom. The end of wisdom is pure love. So you have to start somewhere. But you should have an overview of what the whole system is of pure love and how it develops. What is impure love? What is motivated love? Just like someone might say to you, your wife might say to you, she loves you because you're big and strong. That really doesn't touch your heart. I mean, it would touch your false ego for a while, but it doesn't really touch your heart. You want to hear something more personal. So there's beginnings, and then there's more developed. If you properly practice the bhakti system, you'll move beyond just being a neophyte.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, if that is the case, then
If what is the case?
that you explained earlier, that we should have the eternal love towards Krishna without understanding him as a supreme personality.
That is the highest level of perfection.
Okay, so does the Vrindavan Vasis were having that kind of perfection, or they were ignorant towards their supreme personality of Godhead is the Krishna? So what was there in Vrindavan Vasis' mind?
They were not ignorant. They are the most intelligent persons in existence. They're not, it's not that they're lacking knowledge. No, they're living at the pinnacle of knowledge. What is the pinnacle of knowledge? They're drowning in pure love. Their love is so great.
So they were knowing already that Krishna is.
They
supreme
were not
personality.
knowing. But their not knowing is not based on ignorance. It's based on pure love.
So how to attain those level in this yuga?
That is why Krishna came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And to most effectively approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you approach Lord Nityananda. But tomorrow we'll speak about that. You can ask more questions. We can't have kirtan late at night, unfortunately. The neighbors are not all attuned to Harinam. So we'll take some more questions. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I was having a very heated discussion today with my parents in the car, and they wanted me to come to dinner with them tonight and have a few drinks and some dinner.
What was on the menu? Roast duck?
No fish. They're very agitated at the moment. And the discussion in the car was, nobody's perfect. You can't strive so hard for perfection.
What do they call perfection?
Well, I keep saying to them, I'm trying hard to become more perfect, to become more worthy of God, and they get very upset. So the argument was, nobody's perfect, so just be normal and love God.
But still, the question is, what is perfect? I don't know what conception you're giving them about what is perfect.
It's probably the wrong one.
Most likely.
Yes.
If you mean that abstaining from meat, fish, and eggs, abstaining from intoxication, abstaining from illicit sex, and abstaining from gambling, that means you're trying to be perfect. No, that simply means you're trying to be a human being.
Well, to them, that's trying to be perfect.
Right, so therefore, either you do some explanation if they're willing to listen, or you just be tactfully silent.
Anyway, comes my question. It is to love God in the way that the high topmost level that you've described. That was my question. Do you need to be perfect?
Perfect in love. That means everything 100% for Krishna's pleasure. No conception of happiness other than what makes Krishna happy. That's the perfection of love. When Krishna comes back from the forest in the evening with the cows, it's not that the young gopi girls are thinking, what did Krishna bring from the forest for me? They simply love Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. They have no conception of happiness other than what makes Krishna happy. You've never seen that kind of love in the material world. But it's this kind of love that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. He's Krishna himself giving all the facility to develop that kind of love in the most degraded age, in which people think that you're trying to do something inconceivable and you're trying to be perfect just by following the 4 regular principles. Whereas we know that following the 4 rules simply makes you a basic human being. So then you may say, why is it that at initiation you promise to follow the 4 rules? Because in this day and age, people don't know what actual human life is. So therefore, at the time of initiation, you promise, I'm going to be a human being. Then what makes you transcendental? It's the chanting of Hare Krishna. So yes, in the beginning, there's that tendency to want to enthusiastically persuade others of what you're doing in bhakti. But you have to be a little tactful. If they don't understand, don't rock their boat unnecessarily. Let them see your good behavior, your good qualities develop. Be the change that you want them to see. And after a while, they may start asking, you've become so peaceful. Just like we recently had our end of the year festival in New Zealand, and there were some newcomers from the USA there. They were students in New Zealand. And they were exchange students, so they had done some of their university studies in New Zealand. They were away from home for Christmas, and so they came to our festival, and they were practicing bhakti and participating and all the bhakti activities, and very happily absorbed in that. So one girl, she sent her parents a picture of herself. And the mother replied, the mother lived in Chicago, she replied, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't know what is this Krishna consciousness, this bhakti. All I know is I have not seen such a peaceful look on your face since you were a little baby. That's the most effective way. Let them see the change. Don't try to engage in theological battles when you practically don't even know much. Let them see how calm and tranquil and undisturbed you've become, how kind you've become, how considerate you've become, how undisturbed by material affairs you've become. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just out of curiosity, I was just wondering that in the spiritual world, since the pastimes are going on eternally, is it that every day they are doing different things? Every day there is a different pastime? Because someone was telling me that there are no demons in the spiritual world, that Krishna is not doing the whole killing.
There's rumors that are demons, though.
So I was just curious that day in, day out, what do they do for eternity? Yeah, actually that
What
was
you
another thing.
read in Krishna book and Srimad Bhagavatam, that's what they do. There is practically no difference between Bhoma Vrindavan, Vrindavan on the earth planet, and Goloka Vrindavan. There's practically no difference. There's some slight difference in that Krishna is visible to everyone in Bhoma Vrindavan, visible to everyone only once in every day of Brahma, only once every 8,640,000,000 years. Anyone can see Krishna, but they don't recognize what they're looking at, but still anyone can see Krishna. Whereas in Goloka Vrindavan, everyone there sees Krishna all the time. That's the only difference. Yes.
Maharaj, by just chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and following the four regulative principles, can we obtain the same amount of love on the Brajavasis that they have for Krishna?
It depends on the quality of your chanting. Chanting is not machine-like. If the quality of your chanting is of pure love, then yes. So our whole bhakti process is for developing our calling out to Krishna with pure love, without any material motivation. If you can do that immediately, then you get the perfection of life immediately. First, we need to go through the recuperation process of following the rules and regulations of bhakti so that our hankering for pure love increases. So if you're really concerned about how to get that topmost perfection, then you undergo the training. Just like at the workplace, if you want a top position in the company, you undergo training. So, our Krishna conscious temples and centers are places for training the congregation, for training the staff in how to be pure lovers of Krishna. How to call out the Hare Krishna mantra in pure love. Okay? Yes?
Thanks, Maharaj, for your lecture. I'm still confused about who is God and how is He affecting me in my day-to-day life.
Can you see that you're under the control of material nature?
Yes, I can.
Then you have to think, what is the controller behind material nature? Material nature is controlling you. Who is controlling material nature?
I know my sense, I'm under the influence of my senses,
Yes?
but I'm not sure who is controlling those senses.
The senses are under the control of material nature. Who is controlling material nature? Control always means controller. You need more information, you need more knowledge. It's like a child who's an orphan saying, do I have a father? Do I have a mother? Where is mother? Where is father? We're orphaned in the material world. We don't recognize the Supreme Father. So you need to find out. You need to talk to someone who knows. Oh, yes, yes, even though you're living as an orphan in the street, you do have a father, you do have a mother. They're very rich, they're very wealthy, they care for you so much, but you've run away. And you've been hit on the head by street crime, and you can't remember that you have such a wealthy mother or father. So the greatest welfare work is to remind someone there's no need of your struggling, living on the street. You have a wealthy family. You have the most wealthy father. That's the greatest welfare work. So you go get knowledge of what is your ultimate source and your relationship with that source. Get the knowledge, apply the knowledge, and you'll get the experience. Basically, your question means you are lacking knowledge, but the knowledge is there. The question is, how much do you want it? What is the thing in your life that you want more than anything?
Ultimate happiness, peace of mind.
I was just thinking of a way Srila Prabhupada would answer that. It's provocative. So, you want happiness? The dogs are happy too. Any cat or dog is happy. If you pet the dog on the head, it moves its tail, it's happy. When the birds are flying through the air, flapping their wings, they're happy. Any animal can be happy. As a human being, you should want the ultimate goal of life. Otherwise, happiness is nothing special. It's just a cheap, ordinary thing. Even the animals are happy. You see, when people are walking their dogs on the street, yes? The dogs are... Anyway, I told you that the answer would be provocative. But Prabhupada knew how to make you think, how to shake you up. What you call so precious, happiness, is such an ordinary, routine thing. Even the animals have it. You should be striving for something far beyond routine happiness. What does Krishna explain in Bhagavad Gita? Matra sparshastu konteya shitoshna sukha dukkha. Sukha dukkha. Happiness and distress are coming all the time by the influence of material nature. Don't be disturbed by that. Krishna's preliminary instructions in Bhagavad Gita are about going beyond the comings and goings of happiness and distress, being affected by happiness and distress. Those are just material, seasonal changes. You walk outside, it could be drizzling. Walk a few blocks, and then the rain stops. Walk a few more blocks, the rain starts again. It's all external. Similarly, happiness and distress is like that. You don't want happiness as your ultimate goal. You want pure love. Perfect reciprocation in a pure, loving relationship.
So Maharaj, how to achieve that state of mind where you are not affected by distress or happiness?
When you are established in pure love, you don't care about material happiness or distress. You can even see that in material relationships in this world. Some beloved family member will, you'll go through anything to try to help that beloved family member, even if it's personally inconvenient for you. in the classic family, which doesn't exist so much in the West anymore, the husband works so hard. Why? Because he wants to please the wife. He comes home from work and she speaks sweet words. So that motivates the man to go get more money. Because he wants to feel appreciated. He wants to feel that, yeah, he's a big man. This is a classic family, which doesn't exist so much in the West. India, still the classic family is there. But even in India now, right? The ladies all want to be career ladies, right? But I remember as in the 50s, growing up in New York City, in my neighborhood, just middle-class neighborhood, no mothers worked. All the mothers were home, taking care of their kids. Now it's practically impossible to live like that. It's very special when the wife doesn't have to work and the husband works only. So my point is that the man, in the classic breadwinner family sense, will go through so much austerity because he loves his wife and children. Sometimes you even see amongst Indian families, the husband is working in India, the wife is in Melbourne, and they're working hard, even though they're separated from each other for 1 year, but they're trying to save money. Yes? That's the power of a relationship. Of course, the best receiver of all those austerities and inconveniences, the best receiver is Krishna. Krishna will never disappoint you, and he can perfectly reciprocate your love. That's what you want, perfect reciprocation of your love. Hare Krishna. All right. So tomorrow is Lord Nityananda's appearance day. We'll be chanting Hare Krishna and dancing. We can't do that now because the neighbors feel a little disturbed. So out of respect for them, we'll end now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.